Good, good day, good evening, wherever you at. Good afternoon. Um, I wanted to do a video, and this occurred to me, and one of the topic of discussion is, you hear this terminology, black community. The black community. You hear it from politics. You hear it from a social media, and I can honestly say, in these last days, that there's hardly is no black community. There's barely if it was a black neighborhood. And the reason why I say that because in some cities, maybe it's a place like Baltimore, it's a black community. Maybe some places like maybe certain parts of New York, there's a black community. Maybe some places in Georgia, there's a black community. Maybe there's certain places in Houston, maybe Dallas, maybe other places, but it ain't hardly technically no black community anymore. And why do I say that? Because right now most of your cities are being gentrified, and that was done by reason. When you sit down and think about it, you go through every other city in America. You've been a truck driver or just a person just driving. I mean, from business or anything. You know, when you go into a so-called black community, that most black communities around America is what I call an impoverished community, which means there's poor white people there and immigrants there, and they've done this throughout different cities throughout America. So, is to me, you have what they call you have black neighborhoods in the and it could be on one side of town, and where maybe you have one back in the 80s, the 70s, and 80s, and then you would go to three or four streets, and you'd be full of black folks and they descended from different parts of the South, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, Arkansas, all in the different places, and they lived in cities like Chicago and New York, New Jersey, and different areas that they would come to. But since there's been an integration through civil rights, and from 30 years ago, gentrification came in. And so now the reason why, and if you're African American, you're probably wondering, what is the struggle with the reparation thing? Well, that was done purposely by the Democratic Party. And so now, which was put in the civil rights bill, put that in the civil rights bill when you're transitioning from the middle of that time during the late 60s and 70s. And even though you still had a black community back at that time, and some of us, who've seen it, grew up in the 70s and 80s, we've seen it, but it faded out, and that was purposely done. And sometimes what the liberal racist people do is that they didn't want to let you go. And I'm hearing it from a perimeter of that they show you that the right side of, let's say, conservative Republicans, they have a certain dynamic of what they view African Americans, and anything too highly of them. But now here come the so-called, liberal, trying to think the same. Well, you're being opposed to being racist, and they know how to say the right things and say we want equality and things like that, and for everybody. But at the same time, it sounds good, but it go specifically like with other groups of people. They got this civil rights off the back of black people, and so no one put these other ethnic groups in saying that we're gonna put the LGBT rights in front of put it among your rights, even though we know the anybody can be LGBTQ, any race of people no matter black, white, Hispanic, Asian, East Indian, Middle Eastern. You can be everybody. Anybody can be LGBTQ. So that took away from the black community. So they used that. They came back in the mid early '90s, late '80s and '90s with that. So they rode the coattail of that. The second wave of group what the Democrat Party did was they let these people, yes, they put the umbrella under the people who didn't necessarily have to go through the 400 years of strife that African Americans had to go through. What I mean by that is that I mean they didn't have to. Many groups of people didn't have to go through the redlining. Many of these groups of people didn't have to be marginalized in the communities. Many of these groups of people didn't have to be put in situations to be experimented with educational systematically with majority of the population, and someone try to mentally make it called a prisoner pipeline jail. It was intended for some of these group of people. So how is that is connected to how can you say that how can you say that to put these other groups of people to get the unjustified benefits when they didn't have to pay the price? They coming on the show coattail. Their kids is not going to have to worry about the prisoner pipeline in America. I mean, some of these different immigrant groups, they don't have to worry about the pipeline. They didn't have to worry about the 30, 40 years. So this is what is an insult to the African American community when other people, when they want to try and get their own thing, just like if it was for Latinos, they went through a certain period of time that when they was particularly down in Southwest America, how the way it was certain things that they were entitled to because of land and because of with form of discrimination they went through in different parts of down in Southwest and South, in certain areas like on the West Coast when they were out there in the majority of the places out there. And by the time, it should have been something done on their behalf. And so that's cool. And when the people who, when the United States took over places like Costa and Puerto Rico and different islands like that, this should be a reparation to the Puerto Ricans because of what they did with the island and stuff down there. The United States should do something with that. The United States should do something with, basically with the French and these other groups of people need to pay reparation to what they've done to the people down in the Caribbean islands. And even what's going over in South Africa and places like that. And everybody should flip down, but particularly in America, and one of the groups who suffer the most horrendous human atrocities on this land, this foreign land. One of the racial groups is the descendants that still live to this day. And it's sad, and it's kind of it's kind of slick minded how they'll select the African Americans that will try to co-sign with this to keep the majority of African Americans in the condition at the end of the day. And that's the truth. And so right now it's like a boiling point, and this is the reason why some of these things took place in the city, of destruction in different areas, because it's like there's a segment of the community has been ignored. There's a segment of the community in throughout America has been marginalized. A segment of the community has been they've been destroyed. And even in the rural community where there are African Americans that farmland, and they're not getting help. People are not getting help out there, period. But they have to go through a double discrimination when you're a farmer. They're going through a double discrimination, and these are African Americans that put their blood in the generational family has put blood in the soil, growing the tobacco, doing the fields, doing the cotton in different parts of the South, and the ones who choose to stay behind, and they still is not get Georgia when they go to get help from the government, and or there's some representative that's supposed to be out of their district is supposed to help them like they do the farmers who are white that might be struggling, that they need some things. So they're going through something like that, but no one don't want to tell this side of the story about African Americans who are in rural areas of the United States of America. And then when it comes to certain things, when it comes to marginalized these neighborhoods, a lot of them don't want. They feel threatened when the ones that do that want to come back and don't want to sell out the rest of the ones who give into this party about Democrat, Republican. They want the black people to keep the majority of the ones in bay, keep them down in poverty as we push up these other groups. And that's when we give it to the slogan, all people. And this is what it's come down to. But there's a segment of people that have been marginalized and kept into a state of condition of poverty for centuries after centuries after centuries. And this is what we're crying that this was discussion about. And it was the same thing when you go out in some parts of the West. There are Native American Indians in different areas that are still other generation centuries after centuries, and it especially the real native looking Americans. So there was a segment of Native Americans that looked just by the complexion of their skin that were white that got reparations more than probably other Native American Indians that would look native to the land back, which you can hardly even find anymore. But they have claimed because the Native American Indians that earn a certain part of land own billions and billions and millions of dollars, and some people claiming to be Native American Indian. Well, we don't. Some of them could, some of them are, and some of them not, and that has been proven in the case of certain politicians that claim that they were part because they feel like because the land is worth something, and so whatever you can do with so much land, then you can accumulate things, and whatever under the soil, it has value. So that's why land it is such important. And there are some African Americans that were ran off their land. That some people don't want to discuss this in the early time, and they never got the justified due, and there's some African Americans can tell you that their great grandparents ran off the land, and that's why so their grandmothers had to come up north, and they had to take up factory jobs, and their grandmother had to wash clothes, and they had to do things. And this is the reason why right now there are some African Americans that maybe it's like, why is they keep bringing this up? Because it's a racial thing about the past, because it has never been resolved. And so they carry that weight of their burden when they hear their grandma or their mama it had held back that pain and said, we just had to go along with this. Well, why we had to keep going along with you done something unjust to my relatives by running them away because they didn't want to give the land up because some white man said you got to give up the land. And if you didn't give up the land, then they came with a group of people and they would storm your doggone land. They would run you out the house, burn your house, and literally run you up north, or kill your dog, kill your sheep, kill your horses or cattle, whatever. Kill one of your relatives to put terror in you, to move you off that land. And many blacks, descendants of African Americans who are black, that you see, this is what happened. So they pushed them into the cities, and that's why they ran. In some cases, that's why they ran to Chicago. They ran up on the eastern coast, where majority. They ran in the cities that you see today. Some ran all the way up into Canada because this is what they done to African Americans, and it's never been resolved. So the reason why some African Americans are making the case about, because they never would just do. So now that they in a state of generational poverty, and the ones who are able, which is like a 1%, are able to come, they want to come back and get that land in which their ancestors ran off. But now that there's certain, then you have to have a representative that's going to represent that district, that's going to fight for them when it comes to certain access to quality of electric, access to quality of water, access to quality of things, just like the white counterparts is that they're demanding certain things, the equality as far as in the rural and in someplace Appalachian areas. And there are places still are like that, but it's hidden and it's put up under the rug. And so that's what's going on. So now you push majority of them in the city, and so you put them in a situation. You put them in a situation that you put them on big buildings of brick cement, and they put in with other groups of people, the other native European groups of people at the time that show generational things with them. I mean, in different parts of the city, any African American have noticed that when your grandmother, they see the Eastern Europeans, they see the Greeks, the Jews, the Hungarians, the Italians, and all these different groups. Everybody was starting out at a certain level, and it came into it at a time. But over a period of time, these groups start arising in certain areas. African Americans was trying to keep up with them, and they were in certain parts of the country. But something happened that even in the north that put them that neglected certain areas, and this is where your red line came in. This is where, when it came to business loans, they didn't want to give to African Americans, and so they pushed African Americans to just be self-absorbing, self-bank. So since they would push African Americans, black people who are native in this land, they pushed it into segregation. So segregation was a good thing with some black people, because you can have your own. Since these people don't consider you 3/5 of a human being, and they don't think that you're not educated, they don't think you have the capability of running your own business, running your own banks, running your things. So we're just gonna, and to the point that we want you to rely on us for your resources. We want to be like a god over you. And see, there are other people that come into the African American community from then until now trying to come up with the same idea. So that's why you see all these people in the city. So they put their business in the city among poor, now what they call impoverished communities, not just black. It's an impoverished, what I call impoverished community, because there's a few immigrants there, and mainly in some cities, poor white people. Some come from Appalachian, come from the rural area. They descended too, that come from the West Virginia, Kentucky area, the Virginia areas, all these places. So they come up to places like Ohio and Western Pennsylvania and Indiana. They descended from there too. So they are pushed into the poverty with the blacks in like it's here in Columbus. I'm on the side of town where it's like that, where it's poor white. So the poor white is equally is in the same level as poor black. Then you got the immigrants, then you got the Mexicans, then you got certain groups like the Pauline people. You got the East African. You got the those certain Asian groups of community people like that. You got the people from Central South America mixed in, and now it's not a community no more. Now like here in Columbus, Ohio, one of the cities, if you do your data status up on it, is black, white immigrant, from east, northwest, and south, and even over there in the predominantly where it once was still predominantly black, it's integrated with white. It's integrated, so they've done that. So in a case like Columbus, now there's a few neighborhoods that maybe a certain percentage of people is black, but just to my African American black people. But Columbus is not it's not like a Baltimore. It's not. Trust me. You're a black person. You come to Columbus and you just ride through the neighborhoods and you can see the demographic, and you'll see maybe three or four black families, but you'll see a white family. You'll see a immigrant family in this neighborhood. This is the truth. This is the truth. When you go into a poor area of from the south side town, the east side town, the north end of town, the west end of town, the west side of Columbus, Ohio, that's what you see. And I believe in what I see come closely remotely to a black neighborhood community, which is probably would be Cleveland, Ohio, and maybe certain parts of Cincinnati, but maybe maybe a little bit of Dayton, but there's hardly no. But most cities like Columbus and probably certain parts of Cincinnati are heavily immigrated because, and that was brought to people demographically by politicians. That was perfectly done. Now, this is what they did, because what's with the reparations? Now they feel like you have your Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's come in and saying, well, since Kamala come from technically she come from what they call an immigrant family. She's first generation American, so she can't really connect with the history of African American. Yes, she went to a HBCU college, but she can't relate, because when in fact, even though that they did go through they didn't go through the whole process of discrimination like African Americans. Her father probably did because he was Jamaican, but as a whole, they didn't go through it in fact, they lived on the West Coast, and which it was racism out there too, but the magnitude of racism. They stayed in a well integrated, mostly partially California. Was there discrimination out there? Yes, it was. But the magnitude of discrimination from Midwest of Mississippi was much worse. Much worse when you go down. Start with the part of Texas all the way. When you cross that Mississippi River, that's where it was really. From Kansas all the way up west and come back towards the east, where it was really bad. It was bad out on the West Coast, but it was. They were literally. I think the lynchings and the burning people out and the segregation of when it came to black people, 10 times worse than it was, and so that they carried the spirit of America carries its history till this day like that, and people are descendant of those areas are still like that. They still want to keep it going like that. So this is to these people that say, why can't African Americans seem like they don't want to work and they don't want lazy? No, it was designed that way. Are there some African Americans that are lazy? Some. There are some people but there's some don't have the knowledge to know, and there's some that want to know, but there are ones that are trying to lift themselves by the bootstrap. They're trying to come back, get their own land. They're trying to get the reparation what was taken away from their grandparents. They're trying to get something, but thanks to a political party or somebody in high position pays it, even if they have to use someone that looked like them to keep them in a repressed condition that they're in, they don't want to do the right thing. So therefore, they'll give it to some other group of people that just been here for maybe half of not even 3/4 of a lifetime as African Americans from generation after generation after generation. So some immigrants first generation come off of that, and they're able to have certain stigmas and things in place for them in housing, and you can't really discriminate against them now because so when Biden gets in, you're gonna find more Americans. It's gonna be out on the streets. But you have more immigrants. They'll make a way for them to get housing. They get federal help and everything. That's what they did. They did it in California, in Oregon, and Washington State. Look at it for yourself, and get free medical and access care. And the state government's doing that for them. And these are people. Some of the people are illegally coming to the country, didn't pay into the system of taxation, didn't lose their job and been job under like their parents, great grandparents, and grandparents, like most Americans have paid the price. So therefore, you see mostly Americans, whether they white, whether they black, could be some Native American Indians who people have who are in poverty camps. In some cases, that's why some people are homeless out there with the people who already been homeless, who have mental condition, alcohol condition, things like that. This is something you need to know it as a whole, and then it gets worse. And if you don't believe me, talk to some of the people that probably run the missions. Talk to some of the people that have churches out there. Talk to and ask them, what is the demographic of people of native to this land who's homeless now, or people coming from other state being homeless, or another state being homeless. That's set up there, and there's very few places that want to tackle the homeless problem and problems that cause extremely, and everybody bringing their issues. And so now you have millions of people coming through the border. Everybody they want, and this is what the Democratic Party, so that's why they want my black people. So this is what you voted for. So so you were supposed to get at some point get some benefit. But now that you got Joe Biden, he wants to let more people in. Him and Kamala Harris, more people in. They don't want ICE going in there. So now they're going to let down the border wall. And guess what's going to happen? You have more people that even though some of the people came from Latin America, mixed in with the crowd, you got some people that it did some illegal stuff that's coming through that border just as well. You got some people are coming from there that were criminals in their country coming back over. And now that makes it harder for the police and sheriff and FBI and all these individuals to try to catch these individuals, because there's some part of organizational gang killing folks and killing your kids, killing some innocent, making an initiation tactic. And now they come from a land, don't have to respect government, because they will kill a cop like it's nothing. They will kill an official. And then some high ranking person in a drug organization can pay some organization off. So this is what you voted for, what you brought to your land. Number two thing. Then they trafficking people. So you might have some people that came over that was being coyotes and brought some of the people over. That's one of the reasons why they down at the border. And so and who would probably have more information to know about this is the Border Patrol. There's then the people who are descendants of Latino, that their parents speak Spanish, so that's the ones they see what's going on. And so America can't be discriminated when you have Latino Americans that can speak Spanish and understand what's coming up from Latin America, because they speak the Spanish that they speak over there in Mexico and different parts of Latin America. And so they hip on the game of what was coming across that border, and they know about the situation because their mother and their descendants came out of Mexico, and they second generation, and they be in the Border Patrol, and that's why you have some Latinos that voted for Trump, because they believe in American freedom because they went through the same process as everybody else. So it's not Trump versus Latinos, and this is what they try to make it out to be. But now that if Joe Biden, this is what if he gets in, this is what's gonna happen, and so therefore now as an immigrant, secondary immigrant, and this is to my African Americans and some of my Caucasian, listen to this. When the immigrants rise for the next 20, 30 years, they're going to be more immigrants in this land because a liberal caused this. And your native generational, out of your generation of your bloodline is going to suffer because things that you agree and no one didn't think about this when they went to the voting polls. They didn't think about it. So they coming for your they're coming from what your grandfather, your grandmother have done. So they get the certain benefits that you can get. And particularly if you black people, this is what they're gonna do to you. Then with some black women who are, and this is the ones I heard this recently, they try to put the division between the black men and black women. To some black women who care with this feministic attitude, okay, this is what's gonna happen. You need, if you're a strong black woman and you believe in, you love your black people, here's the common sense thing. You need the black man, okay? If you want to build a family and you want to build a community and you want to compete with other people as far as the resources, access to things, access to be recognized as a nationality of people. So this is what. So when you fight your man, and you fight and you trying to be head of the man, and you say I don't need no man. Black men, and there's some black women who have this mindset. I don't need them. What you doing, and you telling black men, don't defend me. I don't want you. I can handle this all myself. Then the black man gonna say, hey, okay, I pull up. You trying to take my place. You don't want to be a woman because you're self-pride and self-preservation, and you need, and if you're a strong black woman, and you love about your black hair, and you love about your black skin, and you love about anything, you need the black male, okay? And this is one who preserving your race, everything, and preserving your culture. You can't do it without the black man. Simple as that. You can't do it without the black man. I'll probably be one of the only people that can speak some common sense here. Therefore, your black children, black boys and black girls, what keeps the go between male and female, male and female going on. In the community built up just like your Latino, your Asian, your Middle Eastern, and your other groups of people that are continually generation to keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you be able to see your grandchildren when you get to a certain age. You'll see keep going on. And however they turn out, whatever profession they turn out, from a baby to a child, from a baby to an adult, you'll see go on. But you hurt yourself when you get this mindset, and particularly you get this, we're gonna take over, and you try to do like your white counterpart females do. Okay, now this is a difference between them, their males, and the black male. The white male owns majority of the shit. Okay, I mean there are some white males that run or sit on councils. There are white males that own acres and acres and hundreds of $millions worth of acres of land. There are white males that's over the medication, that over the medical industry. There are white males that do the security, the banking, and all of this. So the system was set up overall, all 7-8 things was for them. And at the time, the white female and the white male, played this rigmarole game about fluctuated power. But the white female knows this for a fact that she needs that white male. Hold this for a second. Why? Because she understands that if a smart white female will know this, that they need the generations to go on. That's why most majority of white people are with white people, and that because they want to see the generation on how from the education from their kids go on and on and on and on and on, and that's why the purpose for them to put fertility clinics. So even if the white women who can't have children, listen to me, that have children so they can have children, and I don't care if they're LGBTQ or whatever, or they're just a nuclear couple, as it go on. But as a black female, your man don't have the positions like that. Not too many black men have positions like the white male counterparts. They don't own 90% of the land. They don't run on the string of the military and security forces. They don't own the majority and run the pharmaceutical companies and have 90% or even a percentage in the hospital. They don't run, and many don't. Even if they did make it to council, it's only so much they can do, because majority of the people who put them in council, who fund their campaign, are white. Okay, and from the suburbs or from the district, or the demographic majority of the people who are the demographic, whether they be black or whether they be white, from the right Republicans to the white Democrats, they're white. Okay, so when you go against your own man, you go against your own interests. This is to the females who got this condescending. Well, we're the highly educated. Yes, you are the highly educated, but you're not the ones with the highly resources. Your man is not the highly one with the highly able to get to the resources. There's only the 2% or 1% of black men that ever get to that status and level. And then you complain when he marries to go off to another woman. Yeah, and the black man is just like any other man. He wants his wife to be a wife. Okay, don't matter if she's smart or not. If she's smart, but she needs to be a wife. Just like the Middle Eastern guys, women, just like the Asian guys, women, just like the Hispanic guy, the Native American, the East Indian, and the African, and all these other matriarchal societies. There's a reason why the Most High God said it that way. Men have the provision from all races, see the provision of their people. This is what separates between the men and women. God gave men the provision. So if you tell your man, I don't need you, and the black men do say, okay, you don't need me, then I don't need you, you destroy your foundation. You destroy your community. You destroy what you build up your nation, and what the time when the government was supposed to give you reparations, like he gave these other groups that gave. You didn't see this upon the Eastern European Jews. You don't see Eastern. We don't need you. We don't need you. We don't need you, because they had to think as a collective. You don't see this and you can at least see this with the gay community. Gay, lesbian women, white men, and others capitalized to went to Congress, which some of their parents are. Their parents are some of them were LGBT. Their parents who are running districts, and they are LGBT, and their kids are LGBTQ. So that's what plays in the factor. So this is what you don't understand. When you denigrate and denigrate your man, you hurt your nation. But when you with your pride and your ego, your haughtiness, your stiff neck, you're hurting your nation. And when you hurt your nation, which is your nationality, you're hurting the future children. You're hurting your boys, and you're hurting your girls that's coming through your womb. And then when you're aborting, you hating yourself. You hate your nation. I'm sorry. And someone need to put it flat out, straight out. There ain't none. And so you give them right over to that party. You give them to the devil. Basically, whatever that party belongs to the devil. That there were future black boys and black girls, those 73 million that died from 1970 that got aborted in the wombs of women. Somebody was supposed to have solved some of the problems that we have today. Not all of them was supposed to be born was going to come through with physically, mentally problems. But you paved into that. Some of them could have been turned out to be good, but we would never know how many aborted babies could have been the next person that discovered the person for disease. You never know that with the world problem God brought through that boy, that girl could have been one day to solve the problems and have the talent that was already gifted in them at a certain age to solve what we have today. See, this is what happened. And if you fighting and you destroying your own seed, how can you love your own self? It's plain. You can't be saying, I'm proud. Okay, now you're proud to be a black woman. Okay, well, you're black man. Now you have no nation. You have, when it comes down to reparation, which was to repatriate the things that which was unjustly done from generation after centuries after centuries after centuries to our people. You hurting yourself more than you helping yourself. And that's why you see people out there saying that they're for life. What is majority of the white people? That's what they were there. That's what they were campaigning for. And you have black women who just as trifling as the white women who flame. I want my choice. It's my choice. Oh yeah, it's your choice. Yeah, you're right. It's your choice. But how many women out there that could dream to have a baby, even though it's a painful process of having a baby, even though it could be a financial responsibility of having a baby, but how many people that want to have a baby? Could be a black couple that can't have a baby because this woman was born with something. A woman could be born with something that she can't have no kids. See, this is what these self-centered women don't understand this. If God bless your womb to be open, then that's a blessing in itself. That's a blessing. And that baby deserves to come into his world because he has a plan for that baby. And one day, all these women are going to have to stand from Planned Parenthood, going to stand before the Most High God. And you tell Jesus in his face. I want you to tell Jesus in his face, it's my choice why I want to destroy that baby. You tell Jesus Christ like that. And you standing, and you tell all the angels in heaven that there was a sign over their life. That was a sign over this baby's life. It was my choice. It was my choice why I destroyed that little MFer. You tell that to Jesus Christ. One day when you stand at the death's door, you stand there with that arrogance that you carry. And I want the Planned Parenthood, and I hope someone Planned Parenthood, someone from Planned Parenthood hear this video. You stand before the Most High God. You tell him, I don't want the little MFer in his face. And you see where you gonna be at. And you look, and he asks you, why did you destroy something? I blessed your womb. I could have worked something out, even if you were in a impoverished condition. I could have worked something out for you. Then one day God rolls back the curtain and shows you the length of a human lifetime that your son, your future daughter could be the next great person. What you gonna tell him then? What you gonna and this is to any woman at this point who agree with abortion, but black women. If they listen to this video, if you agree with abortion, you agree with destroying your nation. You can't be proud of your race. You can't be proud of your race like the other people. You can't be proud of whether when you see Puerto Ricans or Mexicans, Italians, Greeks, Eastern European, because when every racial group, every language on the planet sees somebody being born in culture, whether it's in the Middle East, certain parts, it's something special because they realize a time will come when they're going to leave this world, but they think that still in enjoyment to see another generation of people coming in is a blessing. Every language and every culture in the world, every part of land, I don't care what condition that they live in. I don't care if they live out in the jungle. They're happy to see their baby. And this, why? Because they see their legacy going on and on and on and on. And this is what the men of all walks of life, and some smart men and smart women on the planet, discern this. But you have people in our culture, in right now in this country, don't understand the magnitude of that because it's like we don't need a man. We can do without it, and if we don't, we put it under control. And I don't need you because you're not under my. See, when you do that, and you run the man away, that's not smart. Because how is that future daughter gonna one day look for the husband to carry the seed, her child to carry the seed, the boy to plant the seed, your son gonna plant the seed, that plant the seed. From your name carry on, and your mom's, dad's name carry on, your generation, your bloodline, your roots carry on and on, just like all the other nationality of people on the planet. And I tell you, that's why you need each other, and it could be a benefit for each other. And then as a people as a whole, but you have a certain demographic of people among your nationality, and that they're the most downtrodden, and then mainstream society make it look like they're buffoons, they look like they're just misguided, they make it look like they're just criminality, and you buy into it. You just as you co-sign with it and make you look whorish and like of the planet and everything else. You understand what I'm saying? This is the truth. How you and then there's a segment of women in America, black women, that are trying to get some decent respect, but you got another segment of black women in America that's not. It's making it harder for them. This is the truth, and so that's why so you go to these other men, they don't take you seriously. They just want to use you as sex. No, you need you think that you're looking at you live a vicariously because you see your sister counterparts from these other women. And some of them able to keep a long-term marriage, and some of them able to keep. Some of them able to, even if they lose one marriage, they would go to another marriage because it's something about them other particular women are able to keep a man because they know they taught. But some wise woman told them how to keep a husband, and it has nothing to do with you got to be barefoot and pregnant and. And be like a Stepford wife. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They just know how to. They know how to succumb their mouth. They know. And first of all, and I think with any woman who had that kind of spirit, you need to get before the face of God and teach you how to be a wife. If you want to be a wife, if you want to have children, if you want to, and you need to kill that spirit. That Jezebel spirit. Now I'm telling you, it start with our women, but I know other women some of the other women got that same issue too. But particularly with some of our black women, that's the only reason why, and that's why majority or still some of you are single, but some of you do want a man, but you try to play this hardcore thing. But some of you do. I mean, it's natural. Some of you do. I mean, some of you came from grandparents' household. Some of you came. Some of you know how your grandma and granddad have. There's someone like your granddad who just work as hard, but it's something like you. But sometimes you have to learn with your grandma how to keep a husband around. Your grandaunts. But sometimes you got to put away that pride. And black women just got as much pride as a black man. I know black men got their issues, but black women, there's some of you that got pride, and you just don't, you can't, no one can tell you, you can't tell you nothing. And even when some other women try to say, hey, you're being too kind of rough on this man, girl, you better slow it up. No. And because you believe you're gonna find some, here you got to potentially. Let me explain to you. There's some black men are moving to kingship, but you don't take the time out. You're not willing to have the time and patience to deal with them. And every person start out as a kingship. It's not inherited. It has to be earned and worked over time, and promoted over time. You got some black men that do, and they don't really want to go to other women that make them their queen. They do. They want to keep their bloodline. They really do. They don't want. There's some do that they pride. They say just want a sister that be just act like a wife, like all these other cultures, women that act like a wife, and that learn how to act like a wife. And why you have to go through some coaching when something is basically as common sense? The only person that can coach you to being a good wife is the Most High God. And He'll send somebody that speak wisdom and truth, and someone who's been married and know how. And talk to the people who've been married over a certain period of time. If you want to know how to hold on a relationship, they can tell you the ins and the outs about being married. I mean, the people who've been married for 20, 30, 40 years. Has it been rocks in the road? Yes, they have. They probably got on each other's nerves, been ready to kill each other. But they understand the nucleus. The people who are married, who've been married for that length of time, and they staying married till they die. One of them die off. They understand the system of marriage. And they're willing to stick it out, no matter what. People are not willing to stick things out, and therefore, how do you teach your children how to stick things out? So when you sing together, they will see an example on how to stick things out when the going gets really, really tough, and when it really gets really hard. No matter if it's in finances, no matter if it's in your health, no matter if it's other family circumstances, it's less of giving to one another. Because when you give each other, even if you were homeless in the street, you're able to come up out of the streets together as the man and the woman. You can't. That's the truth. I mean, in today's world, you need another person to really basically, hopefully to be a giver. Both of you are givers. You're able to sustain and stay above the water of poverty. That's the truth. And keep a sound mind. Has it been easy? Because of what's limitations on this COVID that kept most people indoors, whatever. But that's part of the tough thing. But you work things out. And a lot of people, I guess you gotta have that kind of love. And the only type of agape you need to learn agape love is sometimes. That's why it's good that you go to church. And if you don't go to church, pray to God to show you how to have that agape love. And no matter if you're a man or you're a woman at this point, because if you ain't got that agape love, you can't give that love. If you can't love, then you can't love yourself, and then you can't give love to somebody else. And this is what I'm learning this myself as an individual. I'm not the person, but it makes sense. It all makes sense. That just because the going gets tough, God don't abandon you. If God don't abandon you, why would you abandon another person? Do you just give up on your kids? He didn't give up on your kid. He didn't give up on you when you were acting up in your stuff. If that's the case, then you would have been perished there, withered away into the grave. This is the truth. So why give up on that? And everything centered around, and that's one of the beauty thing. If you get into the right church, they will tell you how this all fits in together. How it all fits together. It's about family. It's about unity. It's about family. And then when you understand the family, God teaches how to love our wives. Wives teach how to love your husbands, because He put the combination together. and therefore you love, you produce the children, then the children keep going on and on and on. When they mature enough, then it go on and it goes on and it goes on. And long as when you leave this world, your your name carries on, your legacy carry on, your bloodline. Can gay people have children? Yes, they can. Can they raise children? Yes, they can. But one thing most gay people can give is a bloodline. They don't have the bloodline. And I'm sorry, can they raise two women, two men can raise a child? Yeah, they give the best love that they can. But they don't have it like the man and woman, because the bloodline, that bloodline that they adopted, that bloodline, even if they infuse what they call that fraternity clinic, that person, if it's a woman carrying the baby, but if it's a gay man, and this is a gay man, but don't know how that seed gonna turn out. I'm just saying. But if it's a woman and she lets another man's seed in her womb, and she's a lesbian woman, that child carries out that side of the family's name, whatever they adopted from. Therefore, they don't have the legacy and the medical records of knowing what happened if they get some type of medical condition. See, this is what some gay and lesbian people, gay men and lesbian women don't know this. You can't, I mean, but they go to the clinics and things like that. They go to the clinics and get to in it, because I know there's some lesbian women that had this happen, but they don't get the full foundation of the bloodline. They don't get the full foundation of the bloodline, and the bloodline of a family is triggered. Even if it's an interracial couple, is like that too. If it's an interracial couple, they see the bloodline, even though that the children is of a different race. They see the characteristics in the bloodline. They see the characteristics in the personality of this baby that's going to turn out to be one day be an adult. That carries their personality. That carries something. There's certain demeanors. They carry that. That's why a nuclear couple. That's what the people get the joy. And even your grandparents get to see it. They see certain things. They get to a certain age. They see that. That's what it is. They could. But I mean, overall. But and this is biblical. This is something. This is scientific and biblical. That when let's say you have a white nuclear family, and you can see the kids that look just like they both. You see the favor between the father and the mother right in those kids. I see them in my friends as kids. I could tell their personalities. I could see that were married. Even the ones that were my sister, I can see her personality in her children, in her kids' father. And I can see them. I can see both of them. You can see the bloodline, and then you can see it down to her. Now she got grandkids. My sister. I'm a granduncle, but I can see that bloodline. I can see the bloodline. I just can see pictures of my niece and my nephew. But that's the beauty of the family structure. Goes on and on and on. I mean, it can happen with the LGBT couple, but someone else's bloodline is being raised, not that nuclear family that God designed it. That's why God designed it that way. Zigzag, boy, girl, boom, boom. A daughter have son, daughter. That son grows up to have a daughter. The daughter, so on, so on, so on. A gay couple don't have that luxury. That's the reason why. That's why two men can't have a baby, two women, and if unless she's androgynous or something where she's half man, half woman, but still, and that's not them being sensitive homophobic. That's a fact. This is a fact. This is what a nuclear family has a luxury of enjoying. and therefore God visit that individual. So even if that child goes into rebellion at some point in life, he's able to come back because of the bloodline. He could save it because it was adequately put together. The structure of the family structure, even if it was out of fornication, I believe God can come through somehow with that individual because He knows how this. Because there were some people in the Bible that were born in tumultuous relationships, but He was able to save that person, son, daughter, great son, granddaughter, great, and so on. He come visit them at some point because His mercy and grace is on His heart of what He can do and try to make some difference in them to turn the situation around in their life. This is the truth. This is the God's honest truth. But to get back to what I'm saying, if you fight your lineage, if you fight your man, if you're a woman, you're making a big mistake. You're making a big mistake. Because sister girl, but they know. That white woman might be saying high five with you, but when it comes to common sense, she knows this. And no matter her little stubborn ways can go about it. That Latina woman or any other woman can be like that, but they know this. But smart women know this. They know this at some point. They got common sense enough to see this, black women. And those are the ones, certain black women that got this mindset. I'm not talking to all black women, but there's certain black women that do, and they don't understand. If you hate, it's like it wouldn't make no sense. Because if you hate the baby, even you hate your son because he's a boy, and you got that, I can't stand a man kind of attitude. How can you hate something that's be like hating your brother? That'd be like hating your father. That'd be like hating your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your uncle, your great-uncle, your favorite cousin that are male in your family. So why would you hate men? I'm just saying. That don't make no sense. If I was a black man, why would I hate black women? If I'm hating a black woman, I'm hating my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, my sister, my niece. If I had a daughter, and then I don't have a daughter, I have a niece and a grandniece my grandniece I met one time, but that's another story. But why would I hate black women? It don't make no sense. Then it's like it don't make no sense. I would hate my grandma, my grand-aunts, and when I was a baby until I was an adult. Why am I gonna hate them? Why am I hate my aunts? Then that's not just the only black women. Then it was the black woman that led me back to Lord Jesus Christ. There was a black woman that led me back to the Lord, that He went and He sent her to come get me in the midst of my sin. You need to know about it. So that don't make no sense. And it was a black woman that came and got me. No other woman came and got me for my soul salvation. He used her to bring me back into the covenant with Him. He used her as a friend. It was no freak. Every time people think, you got some going. No, it was ordained from heaven, looked like a mother, sister figure that kind of speak life into me. He used this black woman. This is the truth, and that he selected her. This came from the Most High, and had to raise me up to understand His kingdom through His word. Now she wasn't, and I know, traditionally a man, they wouldn't understand it because a man's supposed to mentor a man. But this time, God selected a woman and say, "You raise him up as his like a spiritual mother. Give him over. Then I will raise him do the rest." This is what happened to me, because I was on the course of slitting down to death's door, death hell. But if it hadn't been for this, that's why I said, I'm gonna hate hate something that I come out of. And you know, I love my mother too. Love my mother who physically birthed me, and I have that took care of me. Because at the end of the day, I know it would come down to, no matter if I had that kind of mindset. I know at my death was before death's door, it would be a black woman that made sure my comfort to the Father's hand would be complete. So that's why I ain't down in black women. I'm telling you. And have some black women did me wrong? Yeah. But it's not because it was the character of the woman. And it's sometimes, which means I must have been something in me to attract these crazy as women, whether they be black or white or other things. So I can't blame certain things. Some things I had to take account of it too. This is keeping it buck and keeping it real. So but I'm not gonna blame, because there's some black women that they're connected to God, them to the Most High, and they need to know that. And if I would say this to other black men, don't dismiss all black women. I'm telling you, because at the end of the day, you know, the ones with the wisdom know that she's gonna have to be by your side through the turmoil and the trial from this world and other nationalities. And some of these other nationalities, some people in these other they don't know the endurance that you've been through as a people. They don't know the magnitude. They don't understand the struggle, and some couldn't handle it. The magnitude. It's more deeper than what you would ever think. So it don't make no sense. And then, like I said, and those of you understand who are proud to be black, they understood this. The Pan-Africanists and all these other, they understand this stuff like that. But you got, and the ones with reason, ones with logic, the ones with sense, saying, hey, you got to get together, because and there's been leaders that have come before you trying to tell your people as a unit, as a family, as a community, you need to get yourself together. You have black men and black women that are telling you need to get yourself together, because you about to be wiped. They're trying to wipe you out of existence. You are the people that were chosen for this time. I said that's why they physically could do you like certain other races of people that try to knock, really like the Native American, but they practically almost knocked them out of existence. Biological warfare. But think about the black people. They continually and have passed biological warfare, spiritual warfare, scientific warfare, financial warfare, and that's it. They have classify you and everything, and you still come on through, and they still can't figure out that they destroy you. This is how evilness as a race of people, that they can't stand you. Think about it. Look what they did with the kids in the inner city. They put these food deserts in your community. They pump yourself for the food, and then if they see if your child is being misbehaved, you put them on some kind of medication. Then they put them on medication, and then they design your boys and girls and pump the pipeline program. This is towards the African American community. They designed this too, and they did that was orchestrated over a period of time. Look what has been long. You can't tell me ain't no people on the planet, especially in America, that have been through something like that. They said, "Damn, we tried to destroy people. We locked them up, but we took away they meant by the hundreds and thousands, threw them in the prisons. We had disrupted this dismantle, and we still can just destroy it. You're the only black people. Listen to me. You're the only people that they do that, and the only people that they have put as parade as the most dysfunctional people. And then other people say keep away from those people. Them people kind of crazy and wild, but yet you always shine. You always shine in some form or fashion. You are the naturally gifted, talented people African Americans or black people, that I like. Damn, that even other nationalities like wow, that kind of had to sit back and admire and don't. And when they unless they learn about and see your story on their local news in their language in their country, you're the only people that can rise like this. You're the only people, and don't let them tell you we ain't shit. When we wasn't shit, then they said that somebody come on and said, well, let's go, because they know everything. If black people come, and some of us with a good percentage got good percentage that come to our sense, they gotta let you go, and they would take say you black people can all go back to Africa, they would kind of crash over time, because African Americans, black people when they make shit go, they make it catches all over the world. You could take something like a music, you could take something like a style, and everybody try to do what African Americans do. Try to even with the whether it's the male or the female, they'll try to mimic your style. It used to be one time. Look at them with the big juicy big lips and big butt. What now you got? And now now you have this generation of people putting collagen in their lips. You got college putting things up in their butt, trying to get their butt, put laid hours and hours of time in a tanning booth till then it get melanoma in their skin and get cancer. So we just such a curse. Why are these people trying to be like us? I mean, seriously. I mean, black people was like black people. I mean, unless there's some choose the one to put bleach and go and think they're gonna live out there in some north part of the west of the country and try to be white and put lightnings in there. But I mean, there might be some that try to do something like that. They try to bleach their skin in the Caribbean and parts of Africa and India, whatever. And because the scientific part of it is that your complexion they hate, and that's something that the enemy put in their mind. So they hate you, they're envious, but they're jealous at you. So they mock you because they really want to be like you, because you come from the Creator. And when you look in the Book of Revelation, this as a being in appearance, a being, even though he's not of flesh, but the vision of that man in the Bible saw what the being was. The being was darker than our complexion, when described as dark and brass, hot and dark. This is the being that created everything. And the enemy put it into the land among these people that your skin is a curse. That you should subjugate them because under the curse. And sadly to say that some black people bought into it, and some other people who have dark complexion have bought into it. It's psychologically warfare you with your skin. This is the truth. If your skin, I have no problem with skin. Then why you have to mimic the people that they do? Why they got to mimic you? Why they always around? I want to know why. It's like, okay, if you don't like these people, then don't go around them. Why they got to come? And why is it so? Like, what is about these people that don't like you, but yet they want to be around you? And they see you on TV. It's like, damn, if I couldn't stand to see people, I wouldn't even see them on TV. These dark people, hey, okay, move to some part of the world where there's no dark people. That if it offends you that much, these black people, these melanated people with melanated skin that's darkened from the sun. If these people, if this that bothers you that much psychologically, why do you even go around them? And if you do, spend your money, get away from them. I'm just saying, if you that envious and jealousy towards the people, basically on the complexion of the hair, the texture of the skin, why would you go to some place like Africa or the Caribbean? Why, I would ask these individuals, why would you go over there and want to think that you're going to put your foot on somebody? Why would you want to go and think that you could mistreat them like that? Who do you think you are? That you think that the one that created you brought you through your mama's womb, have you treat them the same way? But I don't mean to go on a tangent. But this is something that had to be spoken to this day, and I feel like it came off my mind, it came off my heart. And to the people, and let this lesson about in this video. If you don't like black people, melanated people, the people who are darker than you, then you might as well curse the one that created you and brought you through your mother's womb. And if you're a person who's melanated and you don't like this color of your skin, you don't like, and you the female don't like the male counterpart, or you the male kind of like the female, you might as well curse the one that brought you to your mother's womb, because you telling him he made a mistake. You telling him that he made that male counterpart a mistake. Or you telling him he made that female counterpart a mistake. And the one who made all of us didn't make no mistake is you. It's something that's in your mind. It's something that you're struggling with that had a problem with color. It's you. And you need to deal with you. What's in your heart? What got you that way? What got you to hate yourself? Why do you hate yourself? Why do you hate your nation? Why you want to rebel against your man? Other people don't rebel against their man. Why you want to subject your man like that? Why he has to when you stress him out, and black men have a hard time. And if he takes so much stress, it could take him out faster. By statistically, if you're a black woman, don't you care? Would you want to see your son who you birthed, love out of your womb, go through that? Why would you put your black men through that? When you see it, don't affect you. The Most High is trying to tell you something. That's all I'm saying. I'm just a small voice in the wilderness. Hey, and the reason why some men black men it's not that they want to leave you black women. They want to be loved like the other men do. They want to be adored and accepted like other men do. They want a woman that's going to be understanding like the other standing men do. Not put them down saying, I don't need you. I don't need you. You don't financially satisfy me. You don't physically satisfy me. What do you think? What do you think is gonna happen? He gonna find some way, go and find another woman, and the same way go for black men. What do you think? That's why his sister don't want to be with you. I'm just saying, in some cases, she might meet the guy of her dream that she's according to her character. He might meet that one, but if he thinks that the grass is greener on the other side, in some cases it's not. So that's why, and I know for some people who love being black, they can understand that. But if you hurt your own and insult your own, and say, well, you talking too proper, you say, some of the things we say, and put that statement on one another. How are you supposed to figure out how you think those same black people gonna learn to love themselves? When wherever their parents brought them up, however they were raised, environment, and they want to come back, but they feel like they're gonna be judged. I'm just saying, use some common sense. Enjoy the uniqueness in your own people. You enjoy uniqueness of creative your own people. Not everybody got talk that act the same doggone way and present the same doggone way because they sound like they're from the street. They carry a certain street lingo or language or ebonics or something like that. You're uniquely different as a creativity. God didn't design all black people a certain way, personality wise. He put you in the skin, but you uniquely made. And some of you need to grow up and understand that. Some. And whether you come from the country, the city, the rural, and the village, or whatever, but what you all got in common is that the physics when you step into the place, regardless of how much education you got, no matter how, regardless of how much your name, family background, at some point in time, with mainstream world, some people in this world gonna host. They're not gonna like you because your character. They're not gonna and they hate you because and envy and despise you because your color. As any people come from a part of the land who's in their own language with their experience, and they don't want to talk about it because they want to keep it hush hush, but they do, and they want to keep them as the dark people, keep them in the background. This is the truth. This is the God's honest truth, and I'm getting it all out. I mean, this is going to be a little longer video than I expected it to be. But I hope that this video will impact somebody and give somebody to think. And it's kind of long. It may be kind of drawn out and boring, but I hope it would have some individual think about this. And it comes back to you need to know the history in the beginning. You're the only people that's been put through this, and it's designed that way. Get to learn about yourself. Get to learn about the great men and women in your culture. Go. That's why I encourage you to go to the museums. Take your kids to go to the museums. Get your head out of get your head out of gossip. Get your head out of TV. Go read a book. Go research online. Go see some. If you're an African American person, black, female, male, you're young. If you listen to this video, go. You're not niggas. Excuse the pardon expression. You're not niggas, which is the derivative word of nigger from the white people. You would give it. And the reason why they said that word is it was this design is to speak a curse over you. You're gonna be shiftless and lazy and incompetent for the rest of your life. So we have labeled these because they're dark, and that's what dark people label. That's the truth. That was the original saying of it. And every time you do, it's almost like you speak it over yourself. You sing it over yourself. You eject it over yourself, and you see it manifest over yourself. So you take up what they say that you do. I'm just telling you, words are very powerful. I'm not just saying something. Look at where it's manifesting in your community. That's why the police come in your community, and they don't have no regard for you, and these other people don't have no regard for you, and they don't regard your pain. They don't regard, and they're just using you like a certain interest group off your pain. Meanwhile, you're stuck in the conditions it's the same. I'm speaking truth. I hope someone hear this message, what I'm saying, because the reality of it is, that is the reality. You are a people with a great abundance of history. They wouldn't even believe it. Some of these people, these other nations, they come from these people. They go to Washington, D.C. and go to the African American Museum, and they go to the museum in Alabama. They go to the museum that one in Cincinnati, and they see how the way you struggle. And they will see the greatness. There's greatness in the African American, black people, or whatever you want to call yourself. It's a great history that they don't know about your grandparents. They don't know about your great-great-grandparents. They don't know about you. And your great-great-grandparents didn't want you to turn out to be niggas of this era. Sorry. Got to put it bluntly like that. They want you to turn out to be the kings and queens and empresses, princesses, and representatives, because that's what you were told. You were made. They try to systematically say that you're dumb because they put you in inner city in a block. And they say that's all they would ever be for the next 30, and they speak that. You is only you, and these handlers are keeping you like that. And if they gotta get someone to look like you, say, "Come on, throw that job jig like you guys do. Dance, rap. That's right. Hey, what's up, cousin? Hey." They mocking you. They're mocking you. They don't want to be. Thank you. They're mocking you. And then when you start waking up, oh, why they're waking up? Why they getting? Oh, they got a brain. Oh, they got creativity. Oh, yeah. There's dimensions of you haven't reached deep in yourself. Just because you're in the projects, you're going to come out the projects one day. You're going to come out of that poverty. And when you're young, if you're young, listen to this. You will come out, because God ain't gonna keep you like, excuse my impression, a nigga. And when you leave this world, you won't leave being a nigga. That's real talk. So why are you calling yourself that? Why are you calling yourself a shiftless, lazy, ignorant, criminality person? That was put on 400 some years ago. Then we take the name for 400 years when they died. Her last thing, the black man hung up in a tree, a black woman being castrated, that they were a nigger. Why would you carry that and say we're gonna redirect the name being called us niggas? That's not your nationality. That's not who you are. Just one day you'll see it. You might think I'm talking crazy, talking strange. Oh, you're off the wall. But one day you'll see. You live long enough. Let the Most High open up your eyes. Let the Most High change the way you talk, the way you speak on yourself. Let him give you revelation. You know you've been at the bottom pole. He's trying to bring you up. The other nation think you're supposed to be the tail, when technically you're the head. They don't know it, but some of us coming to revelation understand. We know they're going to be the tail, the ones that kept us down. And the one thing they can financially, education, every kind of way. That's why they try and destroy you, and immobilize you, keep you dumbified, so they can keep you at ease. They don't want you to rise. Mentally, they don't want you. Spiritually, they don't want you to rise. This is the truth. And there's some of us who see this vision, but they've been labeled as the tokens. They've been labeled as some kind of conspiracy. There's some of us I heard on YouTube that have gained knowledge, that wisdom that only come from the Most High, to show, that open up their vision, to try to share with other people who choose to listen. But some of us have a certain mindset that, no, you being a sellout, you a joke, you a token, you don't know this, and you don't even know the whole story. You have no idea. Some of us has been top of the mountain. We wait for some of you to get to the top of the mountain to see the whole thing. And then once you get to the top of the mountain, you'll see the whole thing. That's when the Most High tell you the whole story of who you are as an individual. Please, I hope someone share this video, because it's an urgency. Because if you keep thinking like that, then you helping them succeed, destroy your people. Then if then later on you're gonna be destroyed. And you can't say, well, that's just them Negroes over there. No, it ain't about them Negroes over there, them Negroes over here, them Negroes over there. Because what happened over there is going to happen over there. What happened in Mississippi is going to happen in Georgia. What happened in Georgia is going to happen in California. What happened in California is going to happen in New Jersey. What happened in New Jersey, because what happened in Chicago is going to happen in Cleveland. What happened in Cleveland is going to happen in Detroit. Because no matter what hood you come from, what place you come from, they're going to micronicely destroy you, and someone want to go put you back into the prisons and bind you. That's what they want to do. But it was the Most High that laid on their heart to set some of the brothers and sisters free. And some of them to get them out of the cages, away from their families, because he knew it was systematically, it's a slavery. You don't believe me? That's why some people were set free. In a case, on an unjust cause case. And the taskmasters didn't want to set them free. There were taskmasters who were like the prosecutor and the judges over those courts down in different parts of the country didn't want to set them free. They didn't want to do the just thing. You did the Most High God because they disdain you. They wanted to manipulate you. And they put you up under bondage and try to put you up on the same body what they did with your ancestors with other people that designed to keep controlling the resources around you. This is the truth. So I hope you take this message. Hear me clearly. Hear me. Don't hear me by my emotions. Hear me by my spirit. Hear me by my spirit. And let the truth, if I'm lying, let the truth come out. Then let him show you the truth. Let him show you what really is the truth. Because you're going to hear this come from somebody else. And hopefully somebody else, it could be an elder. An elder been trying to tell you this. Could be a man, could be a woman trying to tell you, this is who you are. And they frustrated because you're not, and some of the younger, they don't want to listen. And if that's what's frustrating, they say, look, you get, we disregard the elders and say, oh, whatever, yeah, we just go, yay, whatever. But it's like the elders to see, they've always been in the community. And say they got up top of the mountain. And the Most High said, this is what's going to happen to your people. Just like when he showed that prophet, just tell the people this is going to happen to their people if they don't straighten up their act. This is what they're going to do to you. If you don't change the way you see yourself, what you say out of your mouth, you change. Because that's why they don't take you seriously. They don't stay away from African Americans. Why? You see, look at them on TV. Because the boob tube told them this. They're like, why don't like us? They were pro TV, and the handlers say, go on. But they get millions of dollars off of you. And believe me, there was a time I didn't see this when I was younger. I was blind. I didn't see that was it. I couldn't put two and two together. But now that I see, ooh-wee. It changed when you go in 2019, changed the paradigm of all that. Last year was the changing of the guard. That's when I seen all this. Changed my whole outside. When I look at myself. Look at my people too. Change the way. Oh, did it change the way? When you going to that slave, going to the Thomas Jefferson Memorial, going down to George Washington Plantation, going to the African Museum. That changed it. Because like this is where your people were. But when you look at the bottom, then I look at the achievement at the top. And I look at all the things that African Americans, black people, that's from this land, over 400 some years. And none of these people have the clue who just come over. And they just think we just a shiftless, lazy. That's a lie, the pit of hell. And if they tell you that, you tell that in their face. Because they don't know. They don't know our story. They don't know the whole story. They don't know what your grandparents and parents been through. Your great-grandma, your grandma, your mama. Since going back to the time when they left the shores of the South, Southeast and South. Some went west and still went through trials. Some went to up into Canada. We probably went through some trials up there. Because of the complexion of their skin. So, I hope that this video, someone will listen, give it a thumbs up. You know what it is. Till next time, you guys take care out there. Keep your head up. We're coming up out of this. The Mother Nation's gonna know. They're gonna know, and they're gonna respect us in the end. Watch me. Watch what I tell you.